Good morning, it's Bella Confidential with me, Sarima Ibrahim. I think the producers are going to regret having me do this particular show today because we're talking about smoking. I am a non-smoker. I don't mean to preach. I promise I won't. But you've got to watch this show because it's important for your health, whether or not you're a smoker or a non-smoker. What an interesting day today is going to be on Bella Confidential. So today's Bella Confidential with me is in conjunction with World's No Tobacco Day. Now, today's the day where we all need to sort of come together, whether we're smokers or non-smokers, and talk about what exactly this habit is doing to all of us. Whether you've been smoking for 15 years or not, or you're a non-smoker, or you tried it once and you didn't like it, like I did when I was a teenager, and I decided, no, I'm not doing this anymore. We need to know about the stats. Today's going to be interesting because it's not all going to come from me. I'm going to be talking to a doctor and someone who's on the side of people who you could say want the smoking ban not implemented, talking about food, eateries, etc. But just a little bit of information in case you didn't know this. I found this shocking. For 1 in every 10 cigarettes, it is found that it's actually illegal or fake. So that means that every time a person's picking up a cigarette, somehow you just might be the person contributing towards criminal trade. It is a crime. Now, if that's not enough to make you go, no, I don't want to smoke anymore, it's making me a criminal, well then, you know, stay tuned for the rest of the show to find out the facts, how it affects your health and the stats. Like I said, I'm going to try not to preach. We just want to talk. Let's make this an open discussion because the smoking ban might be implemented and it might not be our choice anyway. Loads of things happening on the show and more. Now, with the recent announcement of extending the coverage of the smoking ban, the question is it the best action for us to take at this particular point in time? Now, an estimated 100,000 Malaysians die every year from smoking-related diseases. So for a lot of people that go like, oh, you know, never mind lah, you know, when it's my time, then it's my time. Yeah, but like if you're deliberately and consciously making a decision to make your time possibly closer, isn't that something that you might want to question? We're at an alarming stage here nationwide. We don't know what to do, hence why the government's saying, hey, let's have a smoking ban, especially in public places, to protect non-smokers especially, not just smokers. Are the pros and cons, you know, what's outweighing? In my opinion, all the cons outweigh the pros. You don't want to look cool, you're going to age faster. Let's get into it. There's loads more on the show today. Welcome back to Bella Confidential with me, Sarima. In the studio, I'm not alone. We are talking about the recently discussed smoking ban. Should it be implemented throughout the entire country, nationwide, in every public place? I say yes. Seriously, I don't want to have to pay for somebody else's habit. Here in the studio with me is Dr. Sontari Somasundaram. She is the Medical Director and President of the National Cancer Society Malaysia. And, you know, I'm so happy that you're here because you are a doctor. You know more than me. You have all the stats. I'm just a non-smoker who is really annoyed with everyone who smokes at my face. You know, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sarah.
Doctor. Look, you know, are we doing enough first off, in Malaysia, we've got all the bans, you know, we're talking about we've raised the taxes on cigarettes, we've got the Tak Nak campaigns, we've got the campaigns in schools, we've got everything happening, but yet people are still smoking.
I mean, the positive aspect of it is that, yes, people are still smoking, but there's actually a slight decline in the number of smokers in Malaysia.
Okay, please give us those numbers.
That's because of all what has been done in terms of policy and the bans and the advertising, etc., etc. Now, when you're talking about 10 years ago, prevalence in Malaysia smoking for men was close to 50%. So you're looking at 49%.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But in 2011, when they did the GATS, which is the Global Adult Tobacco Survey, it came down to 43.9%.
That's wonderful. I mean, we're talking like hundreds of thousands or millions affected there.
Well, overall, with 43.9% of men smoking, and that comes when you when you include women, because women is only about 1%. You're looking at an overall of adult smoking about 23.1%.
What when you say women, 1% of?
1% of adult women smoke.
Is that's just what's on paper, though?
That's what's just on paper.
Because there's a lot of women that are hiding in toilets and pretending they don't smoke. I've seen it myself. I'm like, what's that smell? Interesting.
It's still a stigma for women in terms of smoking.
I was just about to ask you about that, because as you mentioned now, at least it's decreased a little bit for the men, but there's still the higher population who smoke. Female smokers in youth, can you give us a bit of information on that? You just mentioned 1% of the reported cases.
Generally, there's not many studies which have been done on female smokers. The last study that I could find was actually done in 1996, so which showed that female youth smokers was around 9%, and it has increased in 10 years to about 16.1%.
So that's not good news. I mean, even with the campaigns and etc. Why do you think that's so?
Basically, it's about friendship groups. It's peer pressure is one, but two, it's friendship groups that people feel that if they join a group, it's cooler to smoke. It makes them look more mature.
It doesn't help with the TV shows showing women smoking and stuff like that too.
And it's the whole idea of non-conformity, that hey, you know, I'm out there. I'm one of the, you know, one of those who are willing to go out of the normal boundaries
and be cool.
Exactly. And also, they think that it's more attractive to boys.
Wait, they think it's attractive to boys if they smoke?
Yes, because if they look mature, boys are more willing to come up to them, or non-conformal, boys are more willing to come up to them to talk, compared to if you sit there demure and you don't smoke.
That's so sad, because that's just another demonstration of women going and doing things that, you know, are against actually their will or nature just to conform to others. Besides fashion, peer pressure, there's also like a misconception for a lot of women that I know that if they were to stop smoking, say that they would gain weight.
No, initially, yes, there is a slight gain of weight because of the receptors, etc. Because at the end of the day, you have to understand that smoking is an addiction.
Yes, it is nicotine.
It is nicotine
is
addiction.
A stimulant.
Exactly. So as the nicotine wanes, then yes, you know, you will have that feeling of increased appetite, but that is just for a short period of time, and then your body will adapt again.
Yes, because a lot of people use that as an excuse, but you can get into the gym, etc. I know it's easier for me to say it than do. We all have our vices. You know, a lot of people are turning to electronic cigarettes now, and they say, you know, this is better. Now, psychologists, on the other hand, would say that it's the same thing, because you're still feeding the brain like a form of an addiction. It's a movement of sort that's sort of like, you know, what is your take on that?
I mean, you're feeding an addiction. When the whole idea of nicotine, of e-cigarettes came in, it came in as an intervention to stop smoking. So for those who are already smoking, it was a method for you to actually cease smoking.
How, though? Because you're just giving them another thing to hold.
Agreed. You're giving them another thing to hold, but at the same time, you're not giving the toxins that come from tobacco. You're just feeding the addiction through the nicotine, which is in the fluid, basically. So the idea is that you slowly decrease that until you no longer need that nicotine fix anymore.
Do people Doctor, do they actually decrease it, though, or do they just continue on?
It does. As a smoking cessation program, e-cigarettes actually work.
Right.
But the issue is that it's not being used as a smoking cessation. It's being marketed now as a recreation lifestyle habit.
Okay.
And so you're getting people who have never smoked before, who have never thought of smoking before, taking up e-cigarettes.
Thinking it's less harmful.
Thinking, one, it's cool. And two, yes, that it's less harmful. But at the end of the day, you are feeding an addiction. Once you get onto e-cigarettes, you're exposed to nicotine, and nicotine is addictive.
Of course, it's a drug.
Exactly.
It is a drug, yeah. Let's be clear on that.
It is very, very clear. It is a drug. It is a drug which is more addictive than cocaine.
You know, earlier in the show, you know, in the opening, I was talking about how it contributes to crime. Like, statistically, people are saying, you know, there's this whole underground trade of cigarettes, you know, illegal trades, fake cigarettes, something I didn't know about, you know, I was quite shocked. So doesn't that in some way, I mean, I'm not preaching religion or anything, of course I wouldn't do that, but, you know, isn't that in some way making it not so halal? I mean, in the sense that, you know, if you're smoking, you're damaging your health. As a doctor only, what is your opinion on this particular? Okay,
as a doctor, yes. You know, any tobacco product is harmful.
For your body?
For your body.
Full stop.
Irrespective of how you take it, whether it's smoking a cigarette, whether it's taking through shisha.
Shisha is dangerous too.
Shisha is dangerous as well, and even more dangerous in certain circumstances. Because shisha, you do it for a longer period of time.
Yeah.
And popular belief is that because it's in water, you're actually filtering out the toxins, and that's not true. No,
so what's the water there for? Just the bubble effect?
Exactly. And it's to give you that nice perfume.
Oh my God, I need to be clear on that once again, because you just said it, because a lot of people are telling me and arguing with me saying, no, she's just fine.
It's not.
It's not.
It is not.
Even the flavors and etc.
Even the flavors, etc. At the end of the day, it has tobacco in it.
Now, Doctor, speaking from a cancer perspective, I just heard recently, you know, and I was doing a bit of reading about this yesterday, that secondhand smoking. So I don't smoke, I never have. You know, my family do, and I don't. I can't stand the smell of it.
Yep.
Secondhand smoking can apparently contribute towards someone like me getting breast cancer. How is that? How is it linked? How do I possibly have a risk of getting breast cancer because you smoke, say, for example?
Okay. If you think about a cigarette, a cigarette has a filter at the end of it, and then the normal cigarette. So when someone smokes and blows out, exhales, that is considered to be mainstream smoke.
Yeah.
That has gone through a filter.
Yes.
But when a cigarette burns, and you know, someone waves a cigarette in the air or puts it down there, and the smoke comes out the end of the cigarette, that is called side stream smoke.
Side stream smoke. Okay.
And that side stream smoke is actually more toxic than the smoke which comes out of a smoker's mouth, because there's no filter to it.
Wow.
And that is the smoke that most non-smokers are inhaling.
So how is breast cancer linked to this then?
With tobacco is not just linked with breast cancer. Tobacco is linked with 15 different types of cancer.
Okay.
And there are different ways in which it's linked. Basically, in terms of inhalation, if you inhale toxins, it goes into your lung. From your lungs, it gets disseminated into your bloodstream. Once it gets into your bloodstream, it can go anywhere in the body.
Wow.
So in terms for women, it's not only just linked to breast cancer, it's also linked to cervical cancer. It's linked to cancer of the uterus.
But so, surely you need to have like sort of a predisposition towards having that particular cancer, and this is sort of a trigger only?
A trigger is a trigger at the end of the day.
And it's an avoidable trigger?
Exactly.
Well, okay, what about a woman who smokes a cigarette?
A woman who smokes a cigarette has a 24% higher risk of developing breast cancer than someone who doesn't. Now, if you start smoking at a younger age, that increases your risk by 12%.
Okay.
If you start smoking before your first pregnancy, that increases your risk by 21%.
Oh, dear.
So, irrespective, you know, there is a huge risk by smoking. And the second whammy, if you want to put it that way, for women who smoke, is that even if cancer is not initiated by smoking, the fact that you smoke actually slows down treatment options. So being treated by, you know, by different various drugs, certain types of drugs are inhibited by tobacco because of...
Is it the nicotine that does it, or is it the tar and the rest? But it's been smoked over centuries. You know, that's the argument I hear. Oh, you know, so many people smoke and they're still okay. There's so many of my friends who say, oh, no, I'm fine, what?
No, I mean, it has been proven that smoking, a smoking habit, a regular smoking habit, decreases life expectancy by at least 10 years.
So it's a gamble?
It is a
on your
gamble.
life every
It
time
is
you
a
pick
gamble.
up a cigarette.
And you mentioned earlier on that 100,000 people, Malaysians, die every year from tobacco. That's just one statistic. It's 100,000 people who die, but for every person who dies, there are 30 people who are suffering from tobacco-related illnesses, which you might not die from, but the morbidity of it,
Yeah.
the effects of
And
the
they don't
tobacco.
know.
Exactly.
They don't know. This is the thing. You might have something wrong with you and not know that something wrong with you because somebody you know very close to you is a heavy smoker, etc. Is there such a thing then as smoking in moderation? Is there such a thing as, oh, I'll just have a social cigarette, just one a week, or just 5 lives, okay?
No, there isn't. I mean, if you look at the different types of diseases which are attached to smoking, yes, in terms of lung disease, it takes a much longer, in terms of cancer, it takes a longer period of time, and it's proportionate to the number of cigarettes you smoke and the length of time you smoke. But in terms of heart disease, it's nearly instantaneous. The changes that happen in your body are nearly instantaneous.
So I pick up one today, say,
yes,
and I smoke that entire cigarette, and something's happened to my body permanently?
Permanently, until you stop smoking. And then it takes years before that damage gets reversed, and it never goes back to what you were as a non-smoker.
Years?
Years.
From one?
Years. Okay.
Well, with that, I think I need a glass of water, because thankfully I haven't started smoking, but it's just given me an entire, amount of ammunition against people who smoke around me. I'm so sorry to say.
In the US, 10% of all related smoking deaths in terms of lung cancer were due to secondhand smoke.
Okay, so we're gonna take a break for now. We've got to talk about what's just being discussed nationwide, the smoking ban itself. Should it, shouldn't it happen? Should it be? What do you think? Hold the answer for me after this on Bella Confidential. Phew. You're watching Bella Confidential with myself, Sarima Ibrahim. Just looking at those facts just now that you've just seen on screen. How scary is that? That children are actually dying because of secondhand smoke, and more than 40% of us are affected by our parents smoking as well. Scary facts when you think about it. Now, I've been talking to a doctor on set with me, Dr. Santari Somasundaram, who's the medical director and president of the National Cancer Society in Malaysia. And with her, next to her, we have another guest who's joined us, and that would be Mr. Thiru Muthusamy. He is the president of the Malaysian Indian Restaurant Owners Association. Welcome to our show.
Morning.
Shall I call you Mr. Muthusamy?
Okay.
You're the president of Primas.
Yes.
Short form.
Yeah.
So that means you're the big man above all of our favorite restaurants, basically.
Yes. Basically, the banana leaf restaurants, they are all our members.
Look, what we're talking about today is about the smoking ban that's about to be implemented.
Yes, yes, yes.
You're looking at me with you're sort of giving me that face, and the doctor and I are sort of hoping that you're not going to scold us and get really annoyed with us, but it's something that we have to talk about. But before we get further into the topic today on whether or not, this ban should be implemented, we asked everyone else out there what they thought about it. Because at the end of the day, those are the consumers, those are the people that are going to be coming to see you, doctor, and you're the people watching the show. Yeah. So should this smoking ban be implemented? What do they have to say?
Bersetujulah dengan pendapat government tu untuk ban kawasan yang sebab orang ramai datang semak lah, rokok bau asap tu. Sebab kita yang dapat penyakit bukan orang yang hisap tu. So, saya rasa memang sesuai sangat, wajar.
I think if they're going to do it, they should just go ahead and do it. Like, you know, in the UK, I was there when they implemented the smoking ban in pubs and all that. They just went ahead and did it. A lot of publicans and restaurant owners complained, but eventually people got used to it and life moved on.
I agree, but give time frame. Tapi bagi certain area lah, macam public places, macam theme park dulu ke, ataupun museum, tak boleh lah terus nak implement semua tempat kan. Just certain places first.
I think I agree with that rules and regulation because now the number of smoker increase day by day. The smoke from the cigarette, we get effect. Of course, we all well know about the effect of the cigarette. Better we implement and allocate designated area for smokers.
I agree with it, fully agree with it. Because I myself, I'm not a smoker. So I don't really enjoy people smoking in public.
Wow, that's kind of surprising. I actually thought a lot of people would say no, they don't want the ban because, you know, a lot of people that I meet anyway are like, no, I don't want the ban because, you know, it's my right, you know, if I want to smoke, and for those who don't smoke, well, they can go find their own space. No one asked them to sit next to me. That seems to be the thing.
I mean, saying that, actually, 80% of people who were surveyed under GATS, smokers, said they would like to have a ban on indoor smoking.
Why is that? That's a bit contradictory.
I have friends who smoke, and they themselves complain when they go into a closed environment that the smoke is incredibly bad, and it's smelly and it's uncomfortable. So I think there are smokers as well who want the ban to be there.
Just because you mentioned that, before we speak to Muthusamy about this further, I just want to ask you about open air, okay? Sitting in an open air environment, say at your local mama, right? Is that also considered dangerous, doctor, in terms of secondhand smoking? Can I be affected here eating my roti canai while the person over there is walloping their biryani but also smoking? Does it affect me?
Yes. Under the Framework Convention for Tobacco Control, Article 8, it actually states we encourage that all areas should be smoke-free. However, if you need areas or there are needs for areas to be to allow people to smoke, it should be a distance of at least 4 to 5 meters from the non-smoking area.
4 to 5 meters is like the mama that's down the road already.
Exactly. And in most places that enforce bans like this, like even in Australia or Singapore, you know, at the moment we have bans for smoking in shopping complexes.
Yes, or airports.
Exactly. But right at where the doors open, you know, the doors open to the shopping complexes, you'll see everybody smoking there. In most countries, that's banned. There has to be a 4-meter perimeter.
Yes, like in the UK and Ireland.
Exactly.
I see that.
From that, because smoke travels.
Yeah, because you've got to walk through the people.
Exactly.
Okay, Mr. Muthusamy, President of the Malaysian Indian Restaurant Owners Association. What is your duty? What do you do exactly as the president?
Yeah, as the president, we are running the association for the benefits of our members, who are basically Indian restaurant operators. So now here is an issue which is a disturbing factor for the income of a particular restaurant operator. Like smoking has in restaurants, it's been like a like a casual activity, you know, where friends meet over a teh tarik, they have 1 or 2 puffs, discuss a lot of things. This has been in practice even before independence. So now this has been carried forward in quite a modern way. But it doesn't mean that we say that when we say that smoking is injurious to health, yeah, as a citizen, as an individual human being, we really accept that fact. But then instant banning, which is detrimental to our businesses, has to be given due consideration. So what we feel is that more education, more awareness has to be created among the public, whereby the public themselves will come to a certain level, certain growth, where they themselves will deny or shun going to restaurants which allow smoking. In that way, even the owner will be pressurized on in the future to put a sticker there, this shop is smoke-free. So you should come in a very cordial way rather than imposing, I mean, the ban. And right now, you see, with the implementation of the GST itself, we got a lot of issues. And every time when there is enforcement with respect to price increase, with respect to health, the eateries are the people who are targeted, you know.
Right.
So we are really undergoing a very terrible period. So with this new ban coming into the restaurant premises, it's again going to affect giving more pressure to the restaurant operator. So what we say that, what we feel, take a gradual, we go on a gradual stages and implement in a gradual manner.
Like how? How would you do this gradual thing? What do you suggest?
Yeah, gradual thing, there are, basically, you see, again, as what we say in Tamil, if the thief doesn't, reforms himself, nobody can stop him from being a thief. So this reformation, the change of mind, the effect that cigarette is giving to the person has to be decided by the person himself.
Okay.
So that knowledge, that awareness has to be more, to be brought up in a bigger scale, right from the house to the school.
Okay, Doctor,
okay, I disagree totally with that. For various reasons. One is that education is already out there. If you take a survey of people out there in terms of health risks of smoking, over 80, nearly 90% say yes, they realize there's a health risk of smoking. They realize that it causes heart attacks. They realize that it causes lung cancer. They realize that it causes respiratory disease.
Yeah.
Two is that smoking is an addiction. So that choice gets taken away from you. You say the thief can reform, but it has to come from within. But the thief also needs help to reform. And here is where policy comes in. Policy is that help. If you enforce policy, it helps people to change their smoking habits.
And if you don't have that policy, sort of like a boundary to help them, they can't change. What do you think?
But you see, we know that this is detrimental to the health. Then why can't come out with a straight policy that smoking is banned in this country? Why should we sell cigarettes?
What do you think?
Why should we sell alcohol?
We are moving towards that.
Yeah, in the process of movement, do you want to destroy this business people?
It is not going to be destroyed because smoking bans have been put in place in other countries, in eateries, and it has shown that there's no economic cost to the eateries whatsoever.
I cannot give assurance on this aspect because we when even sometimes when a customer is smoking in our premises, we tell him, sir, this is not an area to smoke. Yeah, sometimes. You see, in certain restaurants, there is an aircon dining area and there is a non-aircon dining area. It's an open area. So at that times, when a customer smokes in an aircon area, we go and tell them, sir, you can have your smoke outside. But they feel very unhappy and it causes a lot of confusions.
Yes.
So these are the situations that we are also facing.
Just give us 1 second. We have a caller on the line from Klang. Her name is Veronica. She has something to say to us about this particular topic. Hello, Veronica.
Hello, good morning.
Veronica, good morning. Thank you for phoning us here on Bella today.
Yeah.
Are you a smoker or a non-smoker?
No, I'm not a smoker.
Who would you like to address?
I would like to talk to the doctor and also to the guy over there.
Mr. Mutusami?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Go ahead, Veronica.
So I wish if only they can stop of smoking in the restaurants and public, it will be better for all the other people around, surrounded in the restaurant, I don't encourage young girls smoking. It's not right for them to smoke. It's very hurting. Because we were not smoking from this young age. And now I can see a lot of youngsters, girls especially, they are smoking. I don't know whether the parents know about it or not.
Do you think that they're smoking in the restaurants? Do you see it happening outside in, say, for example, cafes or restaurants and mamas only, or are they smoking in other places?
Other places also. So I feel that, they will even affect the others who's not smoking, even the young babies. When that day when I went to the mama stall, there was 2 girls smoking and I just went up to them and I said, girls, what y'all are doing is very wrong. And she said, oh, we are already used to smoke, so auntie, I'm very sorry. She just said, oh, sorry,
Wow.
Which is not right for her to say that. And
were you there alone, Veronica, or did you have your family with you? Yeah,
I have my family with me.
Okay.
And my mother is 81 years old. She doesn't like the smell of the cigarette.
Yeah.
I'm also a private nurse. I'm doing nursing services from Klang Hospital to KL.
Okay.
So I don't encourage those who are smoking in public, they have to be careful for others also.
Okay. Thank
We
you,
have to
Veronica.
love others.
Thank you for your opinion. I'm just going to go into asking Dr. and Mr. Mutusami what he thinks about that. Okay, so Veronica is somebody, for example, sitting at the mama, Mr. Mutusami. There she is, sitting there with her older mother, okay? If you're saying, you know, there is a choice, you know, you can, you know, it's up to the individual smoking. She went up to those two girls and told them, look, please stop smoking, but they're still smoking in the restaurant. So who's got the right there and then in a restaurant that you're looking at, you're supervising, right? Who has more of a right, the smoker or non-smoker? Who should leave?
See, I'm in a business premise. Am I doing an illegal activity in my business premise? Is allowing the guy to smoke in my place is an illegal activity? This is one of the
questions. It may become if this ban is implemented.
But that's what I'm saying. Before, you see, when you do that, you also have to take into consideration of the business people. You see, restaurants are different levels, you know. They are catering to different types of customers.
Okay.
So there are people, a sufficient number, who are also basically tethare with cigarettes, some roti chana and mee goreng and thosai and those things. So when this sort of ban comes into those premises, definitely there'll be a big margin, you know, which will be affected. That's what I'm saying. It is not... we can take some other preventive, other measures of awareness programming. Then this one you can.
We have a lot of measures, you know. We have a lot of measures. We've had all the campaigns. We've seen the campaigns. I've seen the signs in the mama that say no smoking. I see people sitting underneath those signs smoking.
So that means, you see, what I would like to say, even if at the cost of an individual who is doing his business, which is legal currently, we are trying to put in some legalizations to make it illegal.
The thing is, though, right, because so many people do frequent the mama. I do, everyone does. You know, like, you know, Doctor mentioned earlier on, other countries have done it. And when they did it, they didn't do it gradually. They just came in with it, for example, like Ireland. They just said, no, done, everyone together. So all the businesses were affected. Are you saying that it's just unfair because it's just the eateries only? Are you saying that you want it just banned everywhere then to make it fair?
Yeah, if we ban it everywhere, it's like GST. Earlier it was sales and service tax. Some came out voluntarily and collected the service taxes, and some they paid from their own pocket. Even myself, I paid from my own pocket because I was unable to collect it from my customer who felt it was very burdensome for him to pay the SST.
Okay.
So these are the situations that we are facing all along, you know. That's what we want to, let it be implemented. We are not against, we are actually against smoking. But when it comes to eateries of our nature, let it come in a gradual manner.
Can it be done gradually?
Let the people...
No, it can't. It can't. At the end of the day, if you have a standardized, straight-out ban on all eateries, then all eateries are on the same level. And our culture is to go out and congregate and makan. And that is the main, it's actually the main social need, is to go out, come together, chat with each other. Exactly, but smoking is secondary to that. You will still come out and eat and meet your friends, etc. And it's still secondary. If every single shop you are not allowed to smoke, they will come.
What do you think?
See, one of the experience I would like to relate here. Cigarette selling in Batang is prohibited in restaurants. But still there are, this practice is going on. Where is the, enforcement?
Yeah.
And I see there is more increase. You see, when you sell a cigarette in Batang, I earn more profit. But see, because we want to comply with the legalization, we are not doing that. But the increase in Batang, even to school students with school uniforms, is also in practice now.
Okay, I understand.
So we need a proper enforcement.
I know, I mean, we empathize, we understand from a business perspective the concerns and the worries, but, you know, like Doctor said, if you look at the stats, Mutusami, you look at the future generation, the health effects, because those non-smokers like me, we have to pay with our own health, plus we also have to look after those who get ill later. Our friends, our family who get ill, it comes back down to us. We have a caller, another caller on the line. I think it's Shahrin, if I'm correct. Hello.
Hello. Morning. Sarima.
Hi, we can't hear you very clearly, Shahrin.
Okay, can you hear me?
Now we can. You're just going to have to shout. Sorry, I hope you're not a smoker, so your lungs are strong.
Yes.
Shahrin from Rawang, are you a smoker?
I used to.
You used to? What happened? Oh, well, hopefully that didn't happen. You didn't get completely cut off in life. Are you still there? Okay, it looks like Shahrin's just gone off. He's probably got a bit shocked with the situation. Maybe we'll get him back on the line. Back to the conversation again. So, Mutsami, what I would like to know is, I understand you're talking from a business perspective, but from a national health perspective, no one's going to be able to come to the mamas if everyone's sick already anyway. You know, if people are going to be sick and the country is going to be suffering, because it all is a domino effect. More sick, more taxes, more health problems, more complication. Then, you know, the government's going to have to implement other things and so on and so on. It's going to come back to us anyway and affect us somehow.
See, now these issues have been, the ban of smoking in eateries has been taken as a very serious issue. That's what currently we see in the media and everything is going on. But I don't deny that it's not a serious issue. But then you also have to give room for the operators. Give them some time for them to adapt to these sort of situations, so that, or give them some sort of compensation when they are willing to sacrifice the business of this nature.
Okay.
Some other sorts of compensation need to be given to them.
So you're asking for compensation. We have Ronald Lim on the line who has a question or an opinion. Ronald? Hello, Ronald.
Yeah, from Kuala Lumpur.
You're from Kuala Lumpur. Hi, are you a smoker or a non-smoker?
I'm a non-smoker.
Okay.
I'd just like to give my opinion regarding smoking in restaurant.
Okay.
When the government have imposed certain restaurant as a non-smoking area, then if the owner finds that there are customers who are smoking there, I think the owner got a very right to ask the customer not to smoke or to go out and smoke. Now, if the if the owner fails to do it, then if he is caught, the ounce is on the responsibility of the owner. They have to pay the fine.
Okay.
Because as fellow customers, I think it's very difficult to ask another customer not to smoke. Now, another thing with Malaysia is we have plenty of laws, nice law, but enforcement is horrible. There's no enforcement at all. Now, if you said about enforcing smoking and all that, if there's no follow-up enforcement, it is useless. We're talking here.
Okay.
So not only in smoking, in many areas.
Okay, but we have to stick to smoking though, Ronald. So what are you saying? In a nutshell, what do you have to say about this then?
Smoking should be banned.
Okay, thank you, Ronald.
Thank you, bye.
Mutasami.
So it is quite easy to say, but to deal with a customer, it is the owners who know what are the difficulties they are going through.
But if you just come with the ban and you say you can't do it, as Doctor said, then the customer won't argue with the owners because it's a ban.
Now, even with the banning, see, do you mean to say that no illegal activities are taking place in the country? With all the laws implemented, with all that's what I'm saying. You see, when it comes into practice, there is one group which is going to be affected, in income-wise, you know. But there are so many other things. What I'm saying is that you give us some time, also the public some time, let them get more educated, more awareness, and slowly let them not come to see. If the customer has a choice, you know, he's got a choice to go to this restaurant, this restaurant.
Yeah.
So if he sees a sign where they don't have this restaurant doesn't provide, no smoking, it doesn't have a designation, then let them go to the next restaurant.
But why can't? Okay,
not
Doctor.
all customers have a choice. If you come as a family, it's generally the male or the father who makes the decision of where you eat. And if they're the smoker, the wife, the child doesn't have a choice in where they eat. So it is not a full choice.
Actually, this is also other way around. Sometimes the children's and the ladies also, see, this is a restaurant where they allow smoking, let us go to the next restaurant. I have seen personally.
Meaning? Let us go.
Meaning that the children's and the ladies are also decision makers when they come to the choice.
So the awareness is there. So the awareness is there. There's enough awareness out there.
That's
now
right.
You need the policies in place.
That's right. Let it go. Let it grow. Let the awareness grow. Because
but we could be looking at years, Mutsami. What do you think of that?
Where is he?
We're waiting for people to say.
No, I don't think so. There was a very, a continuous effort in this awareness.
Do you think so, Doctor?
There is. I mean, if you just did a survey of people on the street of what they want. People out there know the ills of smoking. You said yourself, you understand the ill effects of smoking. What people don't understand is it's an addiction. So even if you have the awareness, people, if they want to quit, find it difficult to quit. Now, all the surveys have shown that over 50% of smokers want to quit and have tried to quit. It takes at least 9 times of trying before you can actually enact a quit.
Okay, doctor, because unfortunately we don't have 9 hours. I wish we actually did, because, you know, we understand from the perspective, from what we've heard from you, Mutsami, the perspective of a business owner, and how you are afraid it's going to affect your customer, and how are you going to tell that person who's been coming for years to have a cigarette and relax with their roti canai. You're thinking, this person isn't going to be happy with that. And where are they going to go then? They're not going to eat in an upper class, higher class restaurant. That's where they like to come. So, you know, it is an interesting thing for me to take away today anyway, to hear your perspective on that. But what can we do, doctor? You said, no, without the policy, no one can be helped to be changed, because we need some sort of like guideline. I guess that's what we need laws for, generally, for anything. Without the laws, we'll just be free-flowing, freestyle, doing what we want. Thank you very much to Dr. Santari Somasundran for being with us, and also to Tiru Muthusamy, the president of the Malaysia Indian Restaurant Owners. We'll be back after this. We've got a break. More with robots and movies on Bella Confidential. There you go. So go on to our Facebook page, of course, at Bella NTV7. Now, what an interesting show it was today on Bella Confidential, talking about a topic, you know, we're all debating about it. You know, ironically, it's been debated over a lot of cigarettes in the Mama itself, but, you know, we heard from their perspective today, you know, they're worried. You know, how's it going to affect the businesses? That is something that we have to discuss. But if we look at other countries, you know, they've managed to do it somehow. So let's do it. Looking at the stats is worth our health. We need to do the change, get it done as soon as possible, in my opinion. But, you know, it leaves it to be open for discussion. So many callers today. Thank you. We couldn't pick up all the calls, and there was so much more to talk about. If you want to watch the show once again, or tell your friends or your family, go on to tonton.com.my. Tomorrow we have Lisa. She's going to be talking about saving for retirement on Bella, not with me. And don't forget to follow us on our Twitter and our Instagram, and like our Facebook page. It was great today. Got a lot to ponder on and think about. See you next time.
ไม่ให้ครับจ่าเลย
มันมียาฆ่าแมลงอยู่ในใบบุหรี่ด้วยนะดูดแล้วหน้าแก่นะ
สูบบุหรี่แล้วก็ตายเร็วไม่อยากอยู่เล่นนานๆแล้วมันไม่ดีรู้เปล่าสูบแล้วเป็นทั้งมะเร็งปอดร่วมโป่งพองเส้นเลือดในสมองแตก
ไม่ดีแล้วพี่ดูดทำไมล่ะ